start off with Joe with this because actually, we're in another fantasy football chat, and Joe mentioned something, and I was like, "Damn, you know what? I gotta." I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna put him on the spot and say it on my show anyway." Then I start getting dings on my phone. You know what I'm saying? I have Bleach Report ding me and Twitter. So I follow in Rappaport and I'll get tweets and I'll get Bleach Report dings. That's how you be like, how does James know quick? I get it rapidly, right? So as soon as I saw that, I put it in the chat. And then I was like, damn. So I'm gonna let Joe explain it. So we're gonna start off with Deshaun Watson wanting out in Houston. And I'm gonna let Joe start off with it. Um actually, yeah, tell us how it started and do you think they're going to trade him and if they do where? And I'm gonna start with Joe.
Okay, so it first came to my attention. I was browsing the Denver Broncos subreddit, and somebody posted an image of a bunch of Deshaun Watson's recent follows. It was a bunch of current and former Broncos, so like Von Miller, Chris Harris, Deontay Spencer, Jerry Jeudy, all that, Cortland Sutton, and somebody's like, "Oh, that's kind of weird. Do you think he might want to trade?" And maybe he's looking at Denver. So that's how it came to my attention. I don't think Houston will trade him. Having a franchise quarterback is one of the biggest things. You either need an elite defense or a good quarterback to make the playoffs. There's only one team in the playoffs this year with a bad quarterback, and that's the Bears. I think that trend will continue.
Washington?
Oh, yeah, Washington.
Yeah. Washington. But, yeah. Alex Smith is a respectable starter, though.
Yeah.
Okay, when he's healthy.
When he's healthy. But I see what Joe's saying. Like, Trubisky is, and I got you, Joe. Yeah.
If for whatever reason the Texans brought in a new GM, you got to imagine making sure Deshaun Watson is happy with that is one of the biggest things when they bring in the GM. I don't know if that was the case, but you'd hope keeping your star happy would be important. Where would he go? I think every team other than about 10 would be looking for Deshaun Watson. So except for like the Chiefs, everybody. Chargers, Cowboys, Bengals, Jags,
Washington. Washington. Everybody would.
Where would he go? He has a no trade clause, so he has a say. So it would be a combination of teams that had enough draft capital and or players to make it happen, but with a good enough opportunity to win that Deshaun Watson would be interested. So I think the combination of those leaves you with 4 teams.
Okay.
The Dolphins, who have number 3 overall, including 2 firsts and 2 seconds this year. They could drop those and another 1 and another 2 next year, and it wouldn't hurt them that bad.
And they can give
2. Really good defense.
They can give them 2 as well.
Miles Gaskin. What was that, James?
They can give them 2.
Yep. Yeah, and Tua. Yeah, they have the ammo, and they have a really good defense. They would probably be 11, 12-win team next year with Watson. The other 3 teams I think there would be the 49ers. Obviously, great defense. Get to play with Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, I think they'd be a successful team, and I think it would be fun for Deshaun Watson to play for Kyle Shanahan. Patriots. They'll have 6 or 7 of their defenders who opted out for COVID coming back. So they should have a really good defense next year. They have no wide receivers or tight ends, which is actually why I would put them the lowest of those, because I don't think Deshaun Watson wants to go to an offense with absolutely no weapons because they have nothing. And if they have no draft picks, they're not getting it back. And then the 4th team I think on there would be Denver, just because they have a lot of young pieces on offense. You add Deshaun Watson, they're not really going to draft offense anyway. They have a lot of young wide receivers, tight ends, a lot of offensive line, running backs. Like, they weren't going to go offense anyway. And I think they have enough weapons to make it interesting that Deshaun Watson would want to be there. and then their defense is good enough to make they'd be a playoff team with Deshaun. I think the big negative there would be the ownership situation and the GM situation. If he's looking that far into it, I think that would make him hesitate.
All right, I'm gonna ask Mo because Mo is already in the chat talking about it. So what do you think, Mo, about Deshaun? Right now, it's the way it's looking at. I just got another thing that he was actually mad that he didn't have a say in the GM and he didn't want the GM. Yeah, it just came out like maybe a couple minutes ago. So it looks like he's trying to force his way out at this point. Who you think?
I mean, can we at this rate can we blame
No.
Can we blame him? I tell people a lot of times, I talk to people all the time, and I say after a while when you get success and you get your money, after a while when you get your money, now it's about success. And we gotta now look at the quarterbacks he came into the draft with. Two of the dudes that came in and was in that top 12 with him are in the playoffs and he's not. And as a competitor, you look at that and be like, well, hold up, Slum. What am I doing wrong here? Because now I'm training, I'm doing the best I can the same way they are, and now two of them in the playoffs and I'm not. And the Texans have shown they haven't done enough to put enough around this man for him to win. Yeah, it was cool when you was squeaking by winning the division at 7-9. It was cool, but after a while, the coach then drafted and then got people to catch up with him. Tennessee has drafted and done what they need to do to catch up with him. And what's Houston done? They basically stayed pat. They basically got consistent. They got complacent. And now Deshaun Watson we can use the word buddy. We can use the word superstar with Deshaun Watson. We can use the word superstar with him. And now, like I said, he's watching others around him at his same draft class get to that next level while he's still here at that other level, and that's not good enough for him. I'm not mad at him because he's done enough for that franchise. He's been consistent enough. And we haven't heard him and nothing negative in the papers or anything. He deserves the right to have to be at a winning program. So I'm not mad at him if he wants to trade. I can't really say I blame him.
Craig, what you think, Craig?
I say something real quick before Craig.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just looking at Twitter and I saw two things that might change Craig's response. So one was, like what you said. The owner had said Watson would be included on the hiring of the GM and the coach process, and he has not been. And two, the Texans have been trying to call Watson for a couple of days, but he has not answered their call.
Craig.
I mean, if clearly like he wants to win, so I mean he's not been able to do that consistently. He's got to the playoffs, which is fine, but obviously he wants to win. He wants to be Patrick Mahomes, like Patrick Mahomes, and win the Super Bowl. He's like the second, maybe third best quarterback in the AFC, which is, for him, there's 16 teams. So he's definitely one of the best. I think he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the league when he has the talent around him. And this year he didn't have anybody and he still had a really good season. So he's putting up numbers. Like, what else he wanted to do? He didn't have his best target in Hopkins this year. They went out and got Cooks. And then they lost Fuller because he went down he drugs, whatever he did. He got suspended for 6 games. So that didn't help his cause either. But, the defense wasn't the same defense as it has been in the past. So obviously they need to put something around him to make him happy to want to be there. And they haven't done that for the last couple of seasons. So definitely he's looking for a trade. Like Joe just read, he's not answering calls. He's not doing anything like that. He's not responding. So clearly there's a disconnect there. He doesn't want to be there anymore, unless maybe they can try to make something happen in the offseason for him and bring in some key players like a nice running back, not David Johnson, who gets hurt every other game. At least one more big-time wide receiver, tight end, something like that, a better defense, some better players on defense. Like, they need some help other than only like J.J. Watt is pretty much everybody knows him, but like the team is just not going in the right direction ever since the last couple of seasons to me. And you got the Colts who are coming up. You got the Jaguars who are about to draft Trevor Lawrence. And you got the Titans who, are probably they're one of the best teams in the AFC. So and they went to the AFC Championship game last year. So you see that and you're like, where's your team, man? You're in last place. And like, I didn't think it would be in last place, but or not second to last place, I guess. But they're not trending up. Basically, is what I'm saying. And with you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and you're not trending up, then like he doesn't want to be there. So you have to try to make some type of accommodations for him. Either try to trade him to a team that has the capital or the players, like Joe said earlier, or try to make it work by putting them with having him have a say in who the GM is, having him have say in maybe who comes into the team, like who he wants on the team, if they can make it happen. But I can see maybe the Colts. I know the Colts are looking to try to get Carson Wentz to pair him with Frank Reich again.Maybe that'll help him out because he was terrible this year. But the Colts, if they can make that happen, why can't they make Deshaun Watson happen? Get them traded there. Obviously, that probably is like not going to happen because they're in the same division. But I'm just saying, like a team that I could see him, that I want to see him go to, I guess, would be them because Phillip Rivers doesn't have too much longer left. 49ers, like Joe said earlier, is the team I was thinking about. Definitely could go to the Niners. I don't really know what's going on with Jimmy G out there, and Mullins is just not a starter anyway. So, like, those are two teams I could definitely see, or at least one of the teams. The 49ers is probably more feasible or more logical. But they got to do what they can do to try to keep him because he's a talent that you just don't want to just trade away for whatever draft picks or players or anything like that. And like he's a cornerstone of of a team. Like he's the franchise player. Like they've never had anybody, I guess, besides J.J. Watt down there since they became a franchise. So what are they supposed to do? They need to figure something out because your star player is not happy.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that go into it. He wasn't in on the. I don't like the hire for GM. Everybody loves the Patriots, but that could have been a lot of Belichick and Brady together. Two, if you want to start over, yes. They just paid Deshaun Watson a lot of money. And he's not happy. They have no draft picks. I think they have no cap money because they took on Brandon Cook's contract. They signed Larry McTunsell for a ton of money. So, and then they signed Deshaun. I think their money's tied up. For real, I don't understand what O'Brien was doing. They could have think about it, right? If you bring D Hop back, right? You D Hop, you could actually sign D Hop, and you could probably get Deshaun Watson to take a Mahomes type of deal, where you can sign free agents for a couple years, and then it gets fronted to him. I could see him doing that because he wants to win, right? And it's crazy. The last thing is that the nostalgia is that J.J. Watt said we wasted one of your years. He was mic'd up. They were walking off the field. He says, I'm sorry, bro. We wasted one of your years. We should have won 11, 10 games. That right there says enough. You know how much of a leader he is for J.J. Watt, who's a leader in himself, to come to him and say, we messed up. And I can only assume that J.J. Watt's probably going to be on his way out as well. So if they want to, this is the perfect time for them to blow it all up. Start all over with fresh draft picks and a cap. This is the draft you can land a good quarterback in. Like Joe, Dolphins have what, number 3 pick, right?
Yeah.
You're like number 3, 16, 34. 50,
and you don't think Flores would jump on getting that? Like, look, you can get Tua, not a bad prospect, right? He's still on his rookie contract. And you're going to get your picks coming in as a GM. We're going to see. I would have let him be on the decision, but I signed him for all that money, and he's my franchise. I would have let him be on the decision. That's